Chosen one. If you're listening to this right now, pause for a moment. Take a breath. Because this message didn't randomly show up in your life. You didn't click this by accident. And you are not just another listener. Something ancient inside you recognized this call. There has always been a reason you felt different. A reason you could never fully fit in. A reason your spirit refused to shrink, even when life tried to humble you. From the very beginning, God placed royal power in your spirit. Not popularity. Not arrogance. Not superiority. Royal authority. And royalty was never designed to blend in with the crowd. You've tried to explain it before. That quiet knowing. That inner pressure. That sense that you were set apart long before you understood why. Even as a child, you felt it. You saw the world differently. You questioned things others accepted. You carried depth when others preferred distraction. And because of that, you were often misunderstood. You may have been labeled too intense, too sensitive, too serious, too quiet, or sometimes too much. But what they called too much was actually too royal. Royal spirits don't dissolve into the environment. They shift it. And that's why blending in was never an option for you, no matter how hard you tried. Here's something most people don't understand. Royal power doesn't need to announce itself. It walks into a room and changes the temperature without saying a word. You've felt this before. People stare at you without knowing why. Some feel drawn to you. Others feel uncomfortable around you for no clear reason. That's not coincidence. Your spirit carries kingdom weight. Not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that commands respect without asking for it. This is why you intimidate people who don't understand themselves. You threaten systems built on mediocrity. You awaken insecurity in those who survive by blending in. Royal power exposes things without trying. And that's why your presence alone has caused reactions your whole life. Chosen one. There's a question you've asked, maybe quietly, maybe through tears. God, why can't I ever fully belong? You tried to adjust. You tried to soften yourself. You tried to meet people where they were. But no matter how much you adapted, something always felt off. You were present, but not at home. Accepted, but not understood. Included, but never fully embraced. And that wasn't rejection. That was divine prevention. God never allowed you to fully fit in because fitting in would have erased you. Most people don't realize this, but fitting in is often a spiritual cage. It feels safe. It feels warm. It feels validating. But it also limits growth. If God had allowed you to fully belong to every environment, you would have absorbed small thinking. You would have normalized mediocrity. You would have muted your discernment. You would have learned to tolerate what your spirit was meant to challenge. So instead, God made you uncomfortable. Not restless, aware. Not lonely, separated. Not rejected, reserved. Because royalty cannot be raised in crowds that fear elevation. Have you noticed this? Even when you tried to settle, your spirit resisted. You couldn't fully enjoy shallow conversations. You felt drained by meaningless routines. You sensed when something wasn't aligned, even if it looked normal to others. That resistance wasn't rebellion. That was royal instinct. Kings and queens are wired differently. Your spirit was rejecting environments that couldn't sustain the weight you carry. God placed a holy dissatisfaction inside you so you wouldn't confuse survival with purpose. Let's address this clearly. Those seasons where you felt alone, unseen, left out, or spiritually misunderstood. They were not abandonment. They were incubation. God isolates what He intends to elevate. Seeds grow underground before they break the surface. Gold is refined away from noise. Crowns are forged in silence. If God had placed you in the spotlight too early, you would have been shaped by opinions instead of truth. So He hid you. Not because you were weak, but because you were dangerously powerful before you were ready. You might have changed your tone, lowered your standards, dimmed your insight, even questioned your own depth. Still, it didn't work. Because blending in requires self-betrayal. And your spirit refuses to betray itself. God placed a spiritual alarm inside you. Every time you tried to become smaller, it went off. Every time you tried to accept less, it resisted. Every time you tried to ignore your calling, it became louder. You weren't being difficult. You were being protected from forgetting who you are. Here's a truth many chosen ones struggle to accept. The crowd was never meant to cover you. God Himself is your covering. If you blended in, you would have leaned on people instead of presence. If you fit perfectly, you would have trusted approval instead of anointing. If you belonged everywhere, you would have lost the hunger for heaven. So God made sure you stood out. Even when you didn't want to. Even when it hurt. Even when you begged for normalcy. Because your assignment requires clarity, not conformity. Notice something now. You're no longer desperate to fit in. You no longer chase acceptance the way you used to. You don't explain yourself as much anymore. That's growth. That's remembrance. Your spirit is finally agreeing with what God has always known. You were never meant to belong to everyone. You were meant to stand for something. And soon, you'll realize that not fitting in was the greatest evidence that you were set apart all along. Let's be honest, chosen one. Your life hasn't been easy. You've endured betrayals that cut deep. You've carried responsibilities others avoided. You've survived moments that should have broken you. And yet, here you are. Still standing. Still seeking truth. Still sensitive to God's voice. That pain wasn't random. Every disappointment shaped your discernment. Every loss trained your spirit. Every delay refined your patience. Crowns are not handed out in comfort zones. They are earned through endurance. And every tear you cried in silence was recorded in heaven. Have you noticed something strange? No matter where you go, reactions are extreme. People either deeply respect you or quietly resent you, rarely neutral. That's because royal spirits trigger recognition. Some recognize the authority and honor it. Others recognize it and feel exposed by it. Your energy reminds people of who they were meant to become and who they chose not to be. That's why you've been admired quietly, opposed subtly, copied secretly, tested constantly. Royal power doesn't go unnoticed. It simply reveals hearts. Chosen one. There is a quiet pain you've carried for a long time. Not the pain of hatred, but the pain of being misunderstood. You tried to be kind. You tried to be fair. You tried to meet people halfway. And still, some people pulled away. Some grew cold. Some resisted you for reasons they could never explain. Let me say this clearly, so it finally settles in your spirit. God never designed you to be universally liked. Because universal approval is the enemy of divine authority. Being liked requires agreement. Authority requires alignment. When you carry royal power, your presence confronts without attacking. It exposes without accusing. It awakens without forcing. And not everyone wants to wake up. People who live comfortably in compromise feel threatened by clarity. People who survive through blending in resent those who stand firm. People who avoid truth dislike mirrors. You didn't offend them. Your consistency did. Have you noticed this pattern? You don't chase attention, yet attention finds you. You don't seek dominance, yet others project it onto you. You don't compete, yet people compare themselves to you. That's not ego. That's presence. Royal spirits create polarity. Some people feel safe around you. Others feel exposed. Some are inspired. Others feel judged, without you saying a word. You become a reference point in the room. And reference points are rarely liked by everyone. There was a turning point in your life. You may not even remember the exact day, but you felt it. That moment when you stopped over-explaining. Stopped shrinking your truth. Stopped adjusting your energy to make others comfortable. That's when some people left. Not because you changed into something bad, but because you returned to who you really are. Performance attracts applause. Authenticity attracts resistance. And God prefers the second one. Your silence has been misunderstood more than your words. Some call it arrogance. Some call it coldness. Some assume you think you're better. But silence is not superiority. Silence is self-containment. You don't speak to fill space. You don't explain to feel accepted. You don't argue with misunderstanding. Because royal power does not beg for clarity. It allows truth to reveal itself over time. Let this truth reframe everything. God is not raising you to be liked. He is raising you to be trusted. Trusted with wisdom. Trusted with discernment. Trusted with influence. Trusted with authority. And trust is heavier than popularity. Popularity fades when pressure comes. Trust remains when chaos hits. That's why your circle became smaller. That's why access to you became limited. That's why God filtered your environment. Not everyone can handle proximity to royalty. Notice how different you feel now compared to before. You still care, but you're no longer desperate. You still love, but you no longer chase. You still show up, but you don't perform. That peace didn't come from approval. It came from alignment. Your spirit finally understands. If everyone liked you, you'd be compromised. If no one questioned you, you'd be ineffective. If no one resisted you, you wouldn't be carrying authority. Opposition is not failure. It's confirmation. The moment you stopped needing to be liked, you became dangerous, in the best way. Clear, grounded, unshakable. Now you speak when it matters. You move when led. You stand without apology. And God can finally trust you with more. Because royalty that seeks applause loses its crown. But royalty that stands in truth never needs permission. Chosen one, this is important. The season you are entering is not about hiding anymore. It's about standing. You may feel it already. A quiet boldness rising. Less need to explain yourself. A detachment from approval. A confidence that doesn't shout. That's your royal authority activating. God is removing your desire to blend in. He's dissolving your fear of being misunderstood. He's strengthening your spine, spiritually. Because where you're going, you must be seen. Not to impress people, but to represent heaven. Chosen one. For a long time, silence was your shield. You didn't speak because you were afraid. You didn't stay quiet because you lacked truth. You stayed silent because God told you to wait. There was a season when your voice was not meant to be heard. It was meant to be formed. Many people misunderstood your quietness. They assumed you had nothing to say. They thought you were passive. They mistook restraint for weakness. But silence was not absence. It was preparation. While others were reacting, you were discerning. While others were talking, you were learning. While others were chasing attention, you were being shaped in secret. God does not release voices before they carry weight. He refines them in stillness first. If you had spoken earlier, your words would have been emotional. If you had risen sooner, your message would have been defensive. If you had been seen too fast, you would have been shaped by reaction instead of truth. So God protected you by hiding you. Not to delay your destiny, but to anchor it. A voice released too early can fracture a calling. Authority must be rooted before it's revealed. And your roots had to go deep. There came a point when silence stopped feeling safe. You felt it in your spirit. Holding back started to feel like disobedience. Staying quiet began to feel like self-betrayal. Watching others misrepresent truth became unbearable. That wasn't frustration. That was activation. When silence becomes heavier than speaking, God is signaling a shift. Your spirit outgrew containment. Notice this carefully. You don't speak to convince anymore. You don't argue to be understood. You don't explain to be validated. Your words land calmly, but deeply. That's because you're no longer speaking from wounds. You're speaking from authority. Pain gave you empathy. Waiting gave you discernment. Silence gave you precision. Now, when you speak, people feel it. Your voice is not for everyone. It never was. It's for those who are ready. Those who are awakening. Those who feel what you say before they understand it. That's why some people will resist your words. That's why others will feel deeply seen. Your voice separates listeners. Truth always does. There was a time when hiding was obedience. Now, hiding would be disobedience. God is no longer asking you to stay quiet to stay safe. He's asking you to speak because others need courage. Your voice carries permission. Your presence carries clarity. Your honesty carries healing. What you survived wasn't just for you. It was training for leadership. This is important. God is not releasing you to shout. He's releasing you to stand. Not reactive. Not bitter. Not defensive. But rooted. Your calm will unsettle those who expected rage. Your clarity will confront those who preferred confusion. Your truth will reach those who've been waiting for confirmation. Silence shaped you. But speech will now position you. Chosen one. You are not emerging to explain yourself. You are emerging to be seen. You are not raising your voice to prove anything. You are raising it because heaven has authorized you. The season of listening is complete. The season of refining has done its work. Now, your voice is no longer optional. It is assigned. Chosen one. Before you read this, pause. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment. Now release it slowly. Let your body settle. Let your mind quiet. Let your spirit come forward. You are not rushing this moment. This moment has been waiting for you. Now, read this slowly. Not with urgency. With authority. I remember who I am. I am not late. I am not behind. I am not forgotten. Everything in my life unfolded in divine order. Even the pain. Even the silence. Even the waiting. I released the need to blend in. I no longer apologize for my depth. I no longer shrink my truth. I no longer soften my presence to make others comfortable. What made me different was never a flaw. It was the mark of calling. I accept the royal power God placed within my spirit. Not power to dominate, but power to stand. Not power to impress, but power to discern. Not power given by people, but authority sealed by heaven. I carry weight because I was built to. I honor the seasons that shaped me. I bless the isolation that refined me. I bless the delays that protected me. I bless the rejection that revealed who was never meant to walk with me. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. Every step trained my spirit to hold more. I step out of silence with clarity, not fear. My voice is steady. My words are measured. My presence is grounded. I do not speak from wounds. I speak from wisdom. I do not react. I respond when led. I no longer seek permission to be who God created me to be. I move without apology. I stand without explanation. I walk without needing approval. Those who are meant to recognize me will. Those who don't, were never assigned to. I am aligned. I am ready. I am authorized. What God placed in me is awake now. What was dormant is rising. What was hidden is stepping forward. I do not rush the crown. I wear it with humility. Take another breath. Feel that stillness. That calm certainty. That quiet strength. That is not imagination. That is remembrance. Chosen one. This activation was not symbolic. It was confirmational. From this moment forward, you will feel less need to explain yourself. You will feel stronger boundaries forming naturally. You will feel clarity replacing confusion. You will feel peace where striving once lived. That is royal alignment. Walk gently. Stand firmly. Speak when led. And remember, you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out without trying. Chosen one. You were never meant to disappear into the crowd. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were never meant to dilute your spirit. Royal power lives in you. And now, it's time to walk like it. If this message resonated with your spirit, stay close. More is being revealed. And your journey is just beginning. Chosen one, before you go, I want to speak to the givers, the ones whose hearts feel called to pour back into the vessel that pours into them. If this message awakened you, if it strengthened you, if it spoke to your spirit in a way only heaven could orchestrate, then I invite you, only if your heart feels led, to sow a $1 seed into this channel. Not because God needs it, but because giving is a spiritual law. A small seed carries big obedience. And God multiplies what is given with pure intention. Your $1 keeps this ministry alive, keeps the messages flowing, and helps this word reach the next chosen one who needs it. If you feel that nudge in your spirit, if you feel that gentle pull, you can plant your $1 seed using the link in the description. And if you can't or don't feel led, you are still loved, still seen, and still covered. Blessings to every giver, and blessings to every listener. Your seed moves heaven in ways you may never see. But God sees it all.